side, you probably like the wide open spaces, but might sometimes miss being a little bit closer to things like shops and other local services. A village doctor's surgery in Lancashire is warning it might have to close because of changes in the way it's funded over the next few years. It says it's going to leave patients having to travel miles and miles to their nearest alternative. Well, to hear more, I'm joined on Breakfast by Joanne Green, the nurse practitioner at Slaidburn Health Centre. Joanne, good morning.
Good morning.
What's the problem?
Well, the problem is, as you said, the government are proposing a phased withdrawal of some funding. This is a funding that many practices receive to a greater or a lesser degree, but very small, very rural practices like ours who generate little income because we've got a small practice population, a small practice list size. We're entirely dependent on this funding, really.
Right. And when you talk about you being a small surgery, just how small are you?
Oh, we've got 1,000 patients, which is tiny.
Right, okay. And if you close, if the worst happens, if you close, where are all these patients going to go?
Well, exactly. We're 8 miles from the next nearest health centre, so a lot of our patients are actually located even more rurally than where the health centre is, up to 16 miles away, so this could easily mean a 30-mile round trip for them.
Right.
Public transport has been cut, so the buses aren't great at all. It's going to make healthcare access extremely difficult for them, basically. So
it sounds like that this route of funding is being cut back. Is there any other way you can get the money?
There isn't, unfortunately. By withdrawing this funding, the figure's the equivalent of the entire practice profit, so there's just nothing we can do at all to maintain the health centre.
Some may say GPs are pretty well paid these days. Now, couldn't maybe your bosses keep the surgery running?
Unfortunately, not at all in this case. The real situation is that the GP won't be able to withdraw a salary at all, let alone take any further cuts than they have in recent years.
All right, so it's getting that serious. The GP who works there won't even be able to be paid.
No, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it's the entire practice profit.
So when do you think you might have to close the doors?
Well, it's due to start being phased in April of next year, so we do have a little time regarding our campaign to ask the government to reconsider the proposal. We'll probably be okay for next year initially, but the year after we'd be looking at closing.
How hopeful are you that your campaign will work and you'll get people listening to what you've got to say?
Well, with a bit of internet detective work, we've uncovered a few of the other practices. We know the medical press are talking about a bloodbath in England of around 100 practices that are going to be as affected as badly as we are by it. Mm. We initially contacted Aysgarth, who we knew were affected by it, and as these things do, one thing begets another. So we're now talking to other practices in Cumbria, North Yorkshire and Northumberland regarding it. So we hope to gain a stronger voice by amalgamating with them. And we're having a meeting, a public meeting, on Monday the 1st of July at 7:30 in Newton Village Hall, where members of the local and central government from NHS England local area team are invited. Mm. So hopefully altogether we're in the very early stages of our campaign. Yeah. We've only known for a week, so we're just getting the ball rolling with it. We've got a Facebook page which has generated an awful lot of interest, Save Our Surgery.
Okay.
It's not to like that.
Okay. All right then. Joanne, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
That's Joanne Green, the nurse at Slaidburn Health Centre, who say they might have to close April next year. The Department of Health didn't have anyone for interview this morning, but sent us a statement about this. It says, starting in April 2014, the minimum practice income guarantee will be phased out to make funding fairer. Money for GPs will be shared more equitably depending on the number of patients that they have and their health needs. This will stop some GP practices receiving thousands of pounds more than others that look after similar numbers of patients with similar needs. I'm sure it's something that we'll talk about again here on The Breakfast Show at 13 minutes past 7.